everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors of your problems just to savor. I've got my own issues, I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you, just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And what is going on, everybody? So, welcome to episode 5 of NFL Talk with Robert. I'm your host, Robert, from the Philly Sports Talk podcast. We got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, especially going after the of everything the division round coming up. I'm going to be joined by a couple of my fellow my colleagues at the Hardcore Sports. One in particular, for what's good further AM, and what's good Philly halftime.
I'm just blowing my nose, my bad.
I think halftime might have him. You good halftime? I think.
He'll be back in a second.
Well, what's good, Chad? What is good? But
What's up, kid?
What's good, everybody? Actually, let me get this overlay.
We know who our opponent is. We know when the tickets are on sale. Now we just got to show up.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to kind of go over are just kind of like do like the recaps of the divisional game, the Jags and Chiefs, Eagles, Giants, Cowboys and Niners, Bills and Bengals. So and all that good stuff. I think halftime might be having camera issues. But actually, well, I'll actually pull up through my NFL app. But man, with the divisional round already in the books. So Chad said, "What's good further?"
How you doing, man? How you doing, Chad? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk. That's going to be another story for a different day. Philly had Tumble be back. I think he's just having a little bit of technical issues. So,
man, but though, isn't it not exciting? We got the 49ers.
Yeah, and I said this too on my post game reactions. Like, I'm not even worried about the 49ers. The way that it's like the way that the 49ers look, they always look like they look weak. When they play really good competition, if you really watch how that game turned out, I want to kind of get your thoughts on that. Like do they? I mean, are you worried, or are they just think we can take care of business and just?
Well, they didn't give us much to go off. One thing, McCaffrey didn't have as many attempts as he did with Seattle. Well, he had 10, and he only had 35 yards, 34 yards rushing.
Actually, let's take.
Might have changed during the middle of the game.
I actually,
but I was really shocked McCaffrey wasn't being utilized. Kittle had a big day though.
What's good, halftime?
Yo,
how you doing?
I know you had a little bit of technical issues getting in here.
Yeah, there's my camera.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
But yeah, McCaffrey had 10 attempts for 35 yards and a touchdown. Elijah Mitchell was pretty much their main back, their main rusher, basically. But yeah, with the divisional games in the book, so the first game we're want to go over is the Cowboys and Niners. But so far, I mean, 19-12. I mean, looking at how this all turned out, it's just despite the two teams were evenly matched defensively, but it's just for me, it's just didn't really see to. I don't know. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that.
On what? On what was that? What was that one about?
We're starting with the Cowboys and the Niners from last night.
Oh, you're starting with that one. All right. It was a good defensive game. You got to give the defense credit. So, on both sides, Cowboys actually's defense came to play. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And you know the 49ers defense is going to come back to play. But if we got to play the 49ers and they're not going to score like that, then hell, this is going to be like a walk in the park.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look at if you I don't know if you saw like the secondary, you can expose that secondary in that quote unquote impenetrable armor that is the 49ers defense. And
yes. If the Dallas did, we can.
Yeah. And what's good, Arku? Yeah, it was to be expected. Like, I think we all kind of understood where that kind of left out at. But, I mean, obviously, the final score was 19-12. Prescott went 23 for 37, 206 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Elliott pretty much carried that team after what happened to Tony Pollard. Elliott, 10 attempts, 26 yards, 2.6 yards per carry. Dak was the second leading rusher with 4 attempts, 22 yards at 5.5 yards per carry. And Tony Pollard, 6 attempts, 22 yards, 3.7. And then he had CeeDee Lamb and a couple jet sweeps for 6 yards, only averaging 3 yards a carry. But as a rushing part of their offense, only racked up 76 total rushing yards as an offense. But CeeDee Lamb had himself a day as well. 10 receptions for 117 yards on 13 targets. Schultz has a touchdown on 10 targets with 5 receptions for 27 yards. But just looking as a team, as the the receiving yards, 206 total yards for the receiving core. It's it really didn't look great. I think Anthony Barr made some good tackles, but just Micah Parsons just looked off. Looked off.
I just think that this game's really going to come down to who has the most weapons, and I'm looking at the 49ers and I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, and especially what the Philadelphia Eagles did this week with how they displayed a full palette of touchdowns across the board. I really think that the Eagles should have no problem. I mean, we have such big names like Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Jalen Hurts could get a touchdown, Goddard, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. We haven't even seen Quez Watkins or Pascal yet. I mean, we have a full team of weapons. And I
I
don't
agree.
see that on the 49ers side. Now, mind you, they got a great defense. Okay, you guys have been talking in Cowboy fans and Giant fans been talking, oh, the 49ers are going to show the Eagles something. You're right, their defense will show something, but it's going to be who puts up the most points at the end of the day.
Right.
And this also stems to the fact that no one talks about how, if you looked at the 49ers schedule, they have a much easier schedule than we had.
Right.
If you looked at their schedule, the fact they lost to the Bears, that's kind of embarrassing, but to start, to open up like out of the 17 games, 4 of those losses came for teams that were below 500. They lost to the Broncos. Oh God, that was one of the worst games I've ever watched. The Bears lost opening week. They only lost to one good team, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think kind of a shootout. But outside of that, you had Brock Purdy went 19 for 29. Had a decent game, but not the greatest. 214 yards, no touchdowns, and no picks. Elijah Mitchell had 14 attempts for 51 yards on a 3.6 yards per carry. Christian McCaffrey, like I said, 10 attempts, 35 yards, and a touchdown. It's just like McCaffrey I think when you plug up that running lanes against McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, it's because I would expect McCaffrey had a lot more than 35 yards last night.
I didn't like the play calling on both sides of each team. I didn't like the play calling. I think they were playing. It was weird how they were doing things. It was weird that the 49ers kept the Dallas Cowboys in that game.
Yeah, that is true, and that's Kyle Shanahan in a nutshell. Kyle Shanahan has been known. I think Falcons fans I've seen over to where they know what Shanahan is like at times. Even though he's got a 5-2 postseason record, but the dude, if you talk about the most conservative play calling, that's Kyle Shanahan in a nutshell. But I will say, it's going to be very interesting of what the 49ers are going to do, if they're going to decide to give Lance another shot, or if that's not the case and cut their losses. But that's just how I see it.
And I think Brock Purdy, when he plays the Eagles and the Eagles knock him off rhythm, I think he's going to crumble. Because nobody is giving him the pounding pause that
Yeah, I agree.
We're going to blitz him. We are going to sack him. He is going to be rushed every which way.
And you saw what
got him rushing. He was nervous. He was not on. He couldn't complete a pass.
And that's the thing too. And like going back to what I said, like they have never faced stiff competition outside of the Dallas Cowboys or the Kansas City Chiefs, because like Kansas City, if you looked in the regular season, they kind of blitzed them a lot. Or actually, no, that was with Trey Lance. I think it was still in that early season. Okay, but like you said, because we got a good pass rush and a good
and we got 3 good corners.
Exactly.
Like is actually a starting corner in the NFL, so we're using him.
I agree.
How are they going to stop Brandon Graham?
Hassan Reddick.
How are you going to stop Hassan Reddick? How are you going to stop everybody? You got Hargrave. How are you going to? You can't stop everybody.
I mean, no matter if you have a good offensive, and you see, look, and I'll get the 49ers their props. So I mean, I think they're a talented team. If you looked at their at times you've seen their O-line can be beat. You've seen Ugaze kind of beat a couple of their best offensive linemen and got to Purdy a couple times.
No, you have to give the 49ers their props. They're who is going to the show? This is a big game. Who is going to the show? Who's going to the Super Bowl right now? Is it going to be the Eagles? Is it going to be the 49ers? I mean, who's going to actually come and play with who's going to play with enough balls to friggin' just punch somebody in the mouth and keep punching them? And you're not going to come in Philadelphia and act like you're going to just manhandle us. It ain't going to happen.
If I'm not mistaken, too, they didn't even have. I don't think they even have tape on us this year. We haven't even played them this year, so they're not
tape on us. They have tape on us on different teams. There is stuff out there where they can say, "Hey, here's a weakness."
Yeah, but I think overall, I think we can definitely take care of business against the Niners. I think it's going to be close. I'm definitely going to try to get to talk to some. 'Cause I think it's going to be a really well defensive game of both ends. That's just how I'm going to see it. But I gotta say though, man, I mean, there's been some other. I mean, so far though, man, the postseason been very exciting so far up to this point. Um, Now, like I said, the last episode I've done, I did kind of, well, let's just say I did basically kind of jumped on the LA Chokers band, just doing that, just kind of make fun of them. But the next game I want to kind of go over is the Bills and the Bengals.
Woo! That game was a fun game to watch. I enjoyed every second of it.
Bills. What the hell happened?
I almost think that game might have been better than the Cowboys and 49ers. I don't know why. I just thought.
You really think that was better?
Yeah, I think so because I just liked seeing more scoring.
I mean, Buffalo
and it was in the snow, dude.
No,
it was amazing.
You got a point there.
And it was in their own field in Buffalo. And the guy went there and took it.
You had to look at it. It's who the Eagles are playing. That's why everybody was watching the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers. Which one is coming to here and try to knock us off our pedestal?
I guess I'm looking a little bit.
We're on a big pedestal.
I'm looking ahead, man. I'm looking at the Super Bowl, and I think it might be the Bengals. And I think it might be the Bengals.
I mean,
it's going to happen.
Look again. For Joe Burrow, 23 for 36, 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon had himself a day, 20 attempts, 105 yards, a touchdown, averaging 5.3 yards per carry. You got Samaje Perine. 7 attempts, 33 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. Joe Burrow had himself a day as well on the ground as well. 6 attempts for 31 yards, 5.2 yards per carry.
I agree with further. I think it's going to be the Cincinnati that goes to the Super Bowl, especially with Patrick Mahomes hurt.
And not to this too, and the Bengals too have to decide. Well, I think what the Bengals are what 3 or 4-0 against the Chiefs.
Yeah,
or something like that.
But in the playoffs, I think it's a different story, ain't it?
They won last year to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. They knocked off Patrick.
And Patrick Mahomes is injured now this year on a high ankle sprain, so he's in pain. And they're already talking about how that's going to affect his mobility where he throws those underlining passes.
Yep.
I mean, if you come look at so far as a team-wise, Buffalo had 325 total yards as a team compared to the Bengals 412. Buffalo had the more passing yards, only by 12. It was kind of close. But rushing yards is pretty much where Cincinnati had a field day with the rushing yards as a team. 172 to Buffalo 63. Cincinnati had
Mixon ain't no joke, man. He's a goddamn beast.
He is.
Let's get Randy
watching him,
and we're going to have Randy on in just a bit as well. Yeah, it felt like that Cowboys game did put most people to sleep. Because it was just,
it was a defensive game. It was just back in the day, there was a lot of defensive games like that. So I'm used to it. But, yeah, it was just a big defensive game.
I know what you're saying halftime. Yeah, there used to be a lot more defensive in the playoffs. That's for sure about that.
But that's what the NFL changed to make it more scoring. More high flying and make it like a circus act.
There used to be a lot more rushing.
Yeah,
a lot more rushing. Oh my gosh!
That's why you always paid a running back a lot more than the wide receivers and all.
Yep,
because that's what it was back in the day.
And that's obviously changed. That that the running backs nowadays are just they don't have that much of a lifespan.
Right, correct.
He's about to be let go.
But yeah, I mean, I thought the Bills and Bengals was a good game, even though outside the scoring wise, Bengals just did everything.
Yeah, right.
It's like
from the get-go.
I won't say it shocked everybody, but it was kind of surprising. I think also sensed the fact that when they lost Von Miller, part of that pass rush, that entire defense kind of changed a little bit as soon as Von Miller went down with that torn ACL. I think that's what kind of changed for a little bit. And obviously, with when Allen had that sprained UCL, that also kind of changed as well. There was a lot of things that kind of changed for them. Obviously, with everything what happened to DeMar Hamlin, and stuff like that. It was just a lot of outside stuff.
I think
But-
you're right about when what you call it went down.
Von Miller?
Yeah, when Von Miller went down, that whole year you just seen the
Just-
whole defense deflated.
Yeah, and look at the earlier in the season too. Like they struggled against teams like Miami. They struggled against the Jets. I mean, like we thought when we looked at this, like this is not the Bills. Like, how do we even see the Bills struggle against teams that they know how to beat? And I'll give
Bills always struggle. Bills
And
is
they-
not that good of a team. Bills always struggle all throughout.
But
You know, the Super Bowls 3 times in a row and got spanked.
it's just amazing that they got the home field advantage, the weather on their side. They're from
And
Buffalo. The
they
fans
just
were
didn't-
there. And they just came out. And, you know, one thing I looked at my friends and family and I said, if Joe Burrow has any chance of winning this game, he's got to come out the first drive and make a statement. And boy, he did. He got that touchdown first drive like it was nothing. And then they just kept driving down the field, especially on kickoff returns. Their special teams saved their day. I really think
very
special teams.
confident, but you know, Buffalo didn't really get to him either.
No, you know who really the only person I saw that I can name as like someone on defense that was making a statement is
What's good, Randy?
Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker for the Bills, showed up. But where was everyone else?
exactly.
Tremaine Edmonds is all over the field making tackles left side of the field, right? And he's a middle linebacker.
I mean, not just and Matt Milano came to play as well for Buffalo in that part of that defense as well.
Yeah.
And that's a good point too. And Cardinals Stardust did point out, yeah, we saw that the 49ers did struggle, and even in the postseason, these had struggled at home in the postseason a little bit. But I still think, I think even though they were 13-4, I don't know exactly what the road record was. It's going to be like, it's going to be interesting because it's going to be, you're coming into Philly, especially during this time of the year where it's just going to get all amped up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And
they're starting to grease the poles, guys. They're greasing the poles.
Dude, already again? They're doing it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Dude, they still climbed them.
Because they're going to be climbing all over it. Listen, this is going to be an awesome week, but I'm super pumped. I'm kind of like AM over here, already calling and chalking it up as a win. I mean, we're going to the Super Bowl.
They don't know. This is magical.
Well, Dante,
team.
You know what I mean?
You don't know.
We're going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, like, whoever, be honest with you, with the 49ers and Eagles, whoever wins this game is going to the Super Bowl. That's awesome.
50-50
You
right
can't
now.
really say
It
Eagles
is.
win.
Hey,
You can't really
Rob,
expect.
to answer the question real quick, the 49ers lost to Chicago 19-10, the first game of the season. Then the third game of the season, they lost 11-10 against Denver in Denver.
Yeah, I did talk about that. They lost to some 500 team. The only good team that they ever lost to was the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and they also lost to ATL.
Oh, that's right. They did lose to Atlanta. Oh, good Lord. I forgot about that.
28-14.
Woo! And people say, oh, the 49ers, like with this win streaks, like, first of all, if you looked at how this 49ers team has played throughout the entire year, they can be very beatable. You've seen the Broncos can beat them, even though it's probably one of the ugliest games I've ever seen on.
The Bears beat them. So
The Bears, the Falcons, holy crap. Teams that were complete trash, other than, outside of Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
But Kansas City does, I mean, even in their game, too, it's just like, they
did 44-23, man. They got whooped.
Yeah.
Kansas City struggled, too.
And we'll talk, actually, going to the Jags and Chiefs game, that was a one-score game. Like, you can't tell me that the Jaguars put themselves, and I'll give the Jaguars a lot of goddamn credit, because they know they actually put up a fight against the Kansas City Chiefs, even though it was a 27-20 victory for the Chiefs. I mean, look, Trevor T-Law went 24 for 39, 217 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. But Patrick Mahomes went 22 for 30, 195 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, with that high ankle sprain, knocked him out a little bit. And put in Chad Henne, went 5 for 7 for 23 yards with 1 touchdown.
Yeah,
Or
he
pretty much
almost
Isaiah.
threw that pick, though. He almost threw that pick. If it wasn't caught by the linebacker of the Jags, that drive would have been completely different.
Oh yeah, but that kind of brings me to my next question. After we get through with that, was what can the Jacksonville Jaguars do to improve going into 2023? For me, I say just try to revamp that defense and try to get some interior offensive line, because I mean you're going to definitely get Calvin Ridley off suspension, so you're going to have Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, who's
Zay Jones.
Zay Jones. I mean, they got a good wide receiver core and a very good tight end, and I think Evan Ingram had himself a career year in Duval County.
You just got to give Dougie P all the credit.
Yeah,
he
it's
took a team that didn't make
look at the last 2
playoffs
years.
last year, and he in 1 year, the 1 year he got there, and he turned it all the way around. Give him the credit. Let him build his team up. He's going. He'll be better.
Absolutely, because like I've always said, this too is where look at the roster. Yes, it's not maybe the prettiest on paper, but there are some spots you can definitely revamp. Because if you saw like how the defense was, and you got to think this too, the Jacksonville Jaguars, when they saw how bad the free fall of the Tennessee Titans, like they had another goal in mind. It was to take that division away from the Tennessee Titans, and we saw that. Oh good Lord, I don't even know if you'll be Tennessee Titans would ever, or the fan base would ever recover from that for collapsing as hard as they did.
You gave up your number one wide receiver for nothing.
And Malik Willis we saw Malik Willis isn't ready for this league. I mean, Treylon Burks had an okay year.
Tennessee don't have a goddamn a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just, and I've always said this too. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be that one team that runs the AFC South for the next 5 to 10 years. Because I think there's a future is looking really bright for Jacksonville, because the Texans, we know where they stand unless the McNair family decides to sell the team. Or the same way you can make the same argument with the Colts if Irsay doesn't get out of his own goddamn way. But I think he should sell the team as well, because Irsay does not know how to run a football franchise to save his damn life after ruining what could have been.
I don't know if you saw that story of Coach Irsay going to McDaniel's house, and I guess he took a big shit and he clogged the toilet, and McDaniel's wife said, "Going there, don't."
Randy, you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh shoot!
I think Randy's gonna have it. Yeah, you're kind of going in and out a little bit.
Come back.
Oh yeah, so so while Randy fixes that, but yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's just that AFC South. I let's be real. I mean, at least he had can't be worse than the NFC South. I think we can all agree to that. The fact you had a three-way race for the first place in the NFC South was, God. What I mean, got any word? Yeah, audio. Yeah, Cauldron Stardust audio difficulties with Randy.
Yep, he'll be back.
All right, Randy.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you're a little bit better, still a little bit crackling, but yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm trying to think, because I mean, you could definitely give them, this Jacksonville team, some good interior O-line help. Because they got a good receiving core. I will say that. And I think who's their second? That's right, JaMychal Hasty.
Yeah.
They got a good running back core. I think revamp that defense. I think you got yourself a dangerous team in the weak AFC South. I will think that the Jacksonville Jaguars will be a dangerous team. In that, I mean, yes, don't take that out of the context, but you have to look at it from a talent perspective and just how much Dougie P has really put themselves to be successful in this. I won't say weak, but just very below. I think there's a below average division, because I think that weak title goes to the NFC South.
I agree.
But the last game I want to go over is our ass whooping on the New York Giants. 38-7. But kind of get you guys' thoughts on that, and kind of give you guys, and just let's kind of talk about it.
Go further.
What do we talk about? I'm sorry. I'm just
We're right now our ass whooping on the New York Giants,
the Giants.
38-7.
Okay. Man. Well, that was unexpected. The way, I mean, let's just say that this is the way the game should have been. But the way they hyped the Giants fans came in so hyped up, and we thought it was going to be, you don't want to underestimate the other team. It's a playoff game, and it being the Giants and stuff, we thought it was going to be a close game. But in paper, it showed that it wasn't even close at all. I mean, by halftime, this game was dead. I mean, if I wasn't a Giant or an Eagles fan, I really wouldn't be enjoy watching it. I'd probably change the channel.
I mean, look at the box score. The first two quarters, the Eagles put up 14 points in both the first and second quarter, and then put up 10 in the fourth. Even though that touchdown by Kenny Gainwell, I think that even though it wasn't really necessary, but I still liked it anyways. But Daniel Jones, I mean, look, I think Daniel Jones has. I think he's definitely. I'll give him more credit where credit is due. I will definitely would say. I think he has earned himself to be the long time solution for the Giants. I mean, 15 for 27, 135. Not the best game. I've seen worse games out of Daniel Jones, but I think I won't say this is the worst one. I think, but with one pick, Saquon Barkley, I think he might be a free agent at the end of this year. If I'm someone's got to let me.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
No, you're right. You're right. Daniel Jones and Saquon are both free agents.
That's right. Yeah. But team, good Lord, team-wise, total yards, it's not even fair. I mean, we pretty much dominate total yards, passing yards, rushing yards per play. They threw one pick. We had the highest third down conversion in that game at 71% to Giants 38. And we dominated time of possession, even though the 5 penalties, that was kind of a bit of my nitpick a little bit. But in the end, that really still haven't really came back to bite us.
Jonathan Gannon saved the day.
Shockingly, as much as how much shit we give him.
I know, right?
That's right.
He showed up today.
I'm number one on that one.
Let me tell you. So Fourth and John. I don't know if they made this highlight clip or they got it somewhere and they're sharing it, but check it out. If you know Fourth and John, they released this clip and somehow they zoomed in on each play to Hassan Reddick, and they just showed how dominant every single play. Even if he had gotten to Daniel Jones, he was just right on him. A second there, the whole game, he was just attacking. Remember, I told you and everyone before the game started, they just need to put and y'all kept accusing me, don't blitz the whole time. I didn't say do a full blitz. I just see you need to get Hassan Reddick in there most of the plays, at least 75% or more. You need to get to Daniel Jones. You can top Daniel Jones from doing anything, even giving it to Saquon Barkley. And that's what Ganathan did. He made sure Reddick was in it the whole game. He was a true 60-minute man. Hassan Reddick, salute to you.
And the fact that, has probably the best career year if he's ever had since coming into the league.
He was a savage this game.
Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick was with the 49ers. Every year he had 10-plus sacks.
He did play for Arizona, and Carolina.
Yeah, he was with Arizona for 10-plus sacks, and then he went to the Panthers.
And he had 10-plus sacks.
Were terrible. He had 10-plus sacks. And then he comes here, and look what he's doing.
Even more.
I mean, he got, 16 sacks, 17 sacks.
16 sacks, because right now that title
he was going to get 16 sacks. I think he got 17, but I'm like, damn, I had that one on the head. I'm like, damn.
He was 2.5 behind Nick Bosa for the sack title.
To be honest with you, though, if you watch the Giants, they didn't come to play.
And this was a full, healthy Giants team, might I add.
Giant fans more came to play than they did. You couldn't stop our second running back. We didn't even use Miles Sanders. He only got 100 yards. We barely used him. We didn't really.
Well, and that's the thing. I've actually said this too. It's just like you don't want to burn out your best guy, especially knowing that you're already up with 31 at this point. Like, why burn out your best guys going in and let's keep them fresh for the NFC title game? And that's when you can pretty much bring out the all-out attack.
Yeah, both offense. But you have to warm people up. That's why A.J. Brown was on the sideline. He was mad. because he wants to be warmed up. You got to keep them warm. You got to keep them moving.
Absolutely.
You got to give them the ball too.
In halftime, what about what you said earlier, where the Giants went for it on 4th down and they should have punted in the first quarter? It's like they almost gave up the game in the first quarter.
They did. He gave up. He was so scared. He went 4th and 8 at the 50-yard line, and they failed, and they gave us the ball. You can't do that.
Do that in the divisional.
I mean,
you can't do that in the playoffs and think you're going to get somebody. You just can't do that.
I mean, it's just, and I think it was also the fact that, you know, I also find it hilarious the fact that Bradbury gets an interception off his former team at the same time. People really think about it. Probably the best moments you could ever. Pretty much it was making a statement say, "Remember me, bastards? Like, this is what happens from cutting me," basically.
But to be honest with you, if you look at that play, Daniel Jones was getting pressured, and he got so scared he was going to get hit. He just gave him the ball. He threw it right to him.
And there's a couple instances where he tripped over his own offensive lineman when he was in certain plays. Like you said, that's hard. If I'm not mistaken, this was a fully healthy Giants team.
Go, Randy.
Yeah, you're right. For the most part, it's definitely a healthy team. That O-line, Evan Neal, is having rookie problems out the wazoo, man, this year. But you know, like everybody, I can't say what I want to say because everybody already said it. They already hit the nail. You know, they did show up. They have a lack of talent. I mean, they got as far as they did just because of the shitty ass team called the Minnesota Vikings. Let's keep it real. I mean, they're frauds.
We already knew that when they were like winning. When they won like 11, like they're 11-0 and one score games. I think we knew how fluky that Minnesota Vikings team has been.
Yeah.
But I will say this too, though. I do think we got some good talent on that Vikings team. I will admit that. Justin Jefferson. I do like who the hell's Sire?
I like Cam Dantzler a lot. I like Dantzler.
Can I say something real quick about this game that no one's really hit a topic on? I haven't heard thus far, even anyone. And what's amazing, I thought, and I hope I see it again coming this 49ers game, shout out to A.J. Brown, and I'm not talking about his receiving here. I'm talking about his run blocking and his pass blocking. I have never seen anything like, what was that? That was unbelievable. He was just
A.J. Brown has been known to be a good pass.
Touchdown. A.J. Brown, because he had that amazing pass block. Or it was A.J. Brown, and then, you know, Boston Scott runs all the way around the side for a TD because A.J. Brown's holding up the dude for a run block. A.J. Brown, man, he knows how to block. And that's
I think people really do underestimate how good his blocking ability can be. And, you know, has really showed, you know, and that's a very good point. You know, really looking at it, I mean, and people, and, you know, the fact that, you know, the broadcast said, oh, Hurts not 100%. That, first of all, the way that Hurts plays looks like 100% to me.
Yards from Jump Street and say, oh, his shoulder's not right. You don't go and watch him get landed on and him say his shoulders ain't right. They got to just stop making shit up.
Well, that's cool because Jalen Hurts has another week to recuperate. It's all right.
Exactly. I think you also look, and going back to what you said further, yes. I don't know if everybody saw this. Like when he was getting tackled, he actually was trying to roll over, not to avoid them being landing on his shoulder. So he was trying to roll over as he was getting tackled.
Oh, did you see he did a lot of slides? He did looking a lot more professional. He usually just likes to plow into people. He was going for a 4-yard and a nice slide, so no one could like push him or anything like that. So I thought I was liking that about Jalen Hurts, taking the slide, being smart. Don't risk it. We need you for the Super Bowl, man. This is just one game. He
still landed on his shoulder, though.
He did, but he was looking a lot more professional with his sliding capability, I think, this game.
And that was the only thing we kind of knocked. I mean, I think he always had a good slide, but just he never really, like you said, we never see him use it because, like, you know, just how strong he is from the lower half down. But
he'll go for that extra yard. That's another thing I like about
after that shoulder injury after the Bears game, that kind of changed up his I won't say his thinking a little bit, but so far though, outside of the divisional games, what do you guys think of the divisional games so far between the Jags, Chiefs, Eagles, Giants, Bills, Bengals, and Cowboys and the Niners?
I saw Dougie P showed up a little bit there. I was quite impressed. But second half, the Chiefs got away. But Doug Pederson to come out for that divisional at the Chiefs Stadium and not just hand it over to the Chiefs, I thought was pretty cool to watch.
I would like to see the Jacksonville Jaguars win, where this is it, Jacksonville in the Super Bowl for Dougie P. I would like to see that one, but everybody knew who was going to win and who was going to lose. Everybody knew at the end who was going to be on top of this chain right now.
I agree. And
everybody knew it. So, what I mean?
Yeah. And like I said, with the Chiefs going into this AC, and that's a funny thing too. And I love Joe Burrow. Just taking a little bit subtle shots. I don't know if anybody saw what he said about the how the NFL wanted to do Bills and Chiefs on the neutral side. So it's like, yeah, you better get those refunds for those tickets quickly. I mean, damn. And I'm thinking to myself too, is like, man, the Bengals. I mean, you got to give the Bengals as much as the bad years that they have. I really do think they are going to pose a threat to the Bills, and definitely I think they could be a threat to the Chiefs for years to come in that AFC. Because I mean, look at it. You got Burrow, you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. I don't know who their second back is. I'm really drawing a blank on his name right now. Oh, Pirine.
Right.
Ain't Joe Mixon's contract almost up?
Not sure.
They gotta pay that safety base before.
I think he's on a franchise tag, if I'm not
Money.
mistaken.
They're going to start winning money, and you didn't even pay your quarterback yet.
Yeah.
Burrow's gonna want that bag.
But wait, Burrow's still on a rookie deal though for 2 more years.
Yeah, but soon.
Yeah, but you know what's coming up is Jalen Hurts. We get him for 1 more year rookie contract, and then
we're not doing that. Next year, you have to sign him because he'll have his rookie contract. Then he rolls in. He'll have a 6-year deal, and then his big money.
I mean, he's got it. He won't be an unrestricted free agent until he was by his age 29 season 2025. So right now it was a 4-year deal that he signed for a 4-year almost a $36.2 million with almost a $24 million signing bonus for Joe Burrow.
But we're talking about Joe Mixon's contract's almost up, ain't it?
Joe Mixon, I don't think so.
I think his contract's almost up.
So let's take a look. No, yeah, no. He's got 1 more year left before he's a free agent. He won't be an unrestricted free agent he'll be a free agent in 2025.
Oh,
but I think it's a club option. I think they're going to definitely. I think the Bengals are going to pick up that club option.
Yeah, they're going to be cap tied soon. They're going to be cap tied soon.
He can waive it off too.
Damn, Jesse Bates is going to get a fat 12.9 this year, 12.9 mil. And he's going somewhere.
Yep,
he's going somewhere. I wish the Eagles could get him, but we don't have the money.
Yeah,
we have the money.
We don't have the money.
We have the money.
We can't. We won't be able to sign players then. James Bradbury is going to want a fat deal.
You can't say that. That's AM. And this is why. Have you seen what the Eagles have done to their defense?
Yeah.
Every year, somehow, Howie pulls money out of the sky and orchestrates this. I have so much money, I can go get all these players. Come on, we got Sanu. You didn't expect us to have Sanu.
You almost think Howie has a CPA in accounting.
He's very good at that. You can't say that we can't get these guys because Howie could pull something.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, when Chip Kelly put him in that closet and locked it away and left it away, he went and got his CPA accounting degree, and he was like, fuck y'all, we're never getting rid of me.
Well, so looking at the Bengals going into 2020, their cap totals, right now they have a dev cap right now of $619,000. 22, they have almost $2.5 million dollar rollover from 2022. But all time, they're going to have a estimated cap space of $49,435,819 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Because right now, going into next year, yes.
Yeah.
But overall, they're paying right now over almost $180 million so far this year.
Right.
But Joe Burrow, his calculated market value is at $44 million. Jamar Chase at $25.2. Joe Mixon 12.7. T Higgins 20.1. Trey Flowers 11.5. Von Bell 10.1. Jermaine Pratt 7.3. Samaje Perine at $3 million flat, and Hayden Hurst is under $4 million.
Yeah. So, but
Wow.
look, they're going to lose some guys next year.
Oh yeah.
They're going to lose guys next year because they're going to want to get that bag.
I mean, yeah. I mean, right now, looking
It
at
happens to everybody. I mean, it ain't just Cincinnati. Kansas City's going to lose people next year.
Kansas City.
Everybody's going to lose people next year.
Oh yeah,
Bills
the
are gonna
offseason's
lose-
always fun.
We're losing
Yeah.
16 guys on defense next year. 16.
Hey, what was that Final Fantasy comedy TV show back in the day? The League.
I think so.
Y'all
Yeah.
ever watch that show? That show was
Yo, man, the
hilarious.
league was funny as hell.
Dude, they bring in NFL players for guests for the show. They'd be sitting in the living room, be like Mike Trout or something. Even they brought baseball players. It didn't have to be just football. They're like, "Yo, we're doing the draft."
Yeah.
They would make
It
fun
was such a funny show.
of the CFL. There was a guy out there on one episode. He's like, I'm drafting Joffrey Reynolds. They're like, he doesn't play NFL. He plays CFL. Like, oh shit.
But I will say this too, though, man. I've always, but this year, though, man, it's been very interesting for some teams. Just others, not so much.
Yes.
Knowing that, if you're going, I think I actually said this. I think that I didn't say this on stream at one point. I think the Bears will be dumb enough to trade that number 1 overall pick. I think at some point they have to keep it. If I'm going to be completely honest, because you have to start somewhere. The fact you're going to have a lot of goddamn money in cap space, because good Lord, I know Bears fans want to put themselves over the bridge if they don't do anything.
I kind of agree with you. I think they might trade their overall pick, the number 1.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to trade the quarterback.
I don't see Justin Fields getting traded.
Hold on. Hear me out. To the Baltimore Ravens and getting their quarterback.
I think
I see it happen. I do.
And I think the Bears have come
Lamar
out and said,
Jackson to the Bears. Wow.
Lamar Jackson
I
to
could.
the Bears.
There's a couple of things I do see Lamar going. One of them is the Jets. I think they could use a guy like Lamar.
But the Jets don't have what it takes to get him. He's under contract, so you got to trade. They're going to want so many draft picks, it's unreal. But if the Bears give him up their number 1 and Justin Fields, they'll do it.
But I just don't. I just don't see Justin Fields getting traded because I've seen
Justin Fields is that good, so.
Well, you can't blame that on Justin Fields. Look at what they had to put him around him. Like
Still,
Chase Claypool has been injury prone. Darnell Mooney's just solid number 2.
but
You know what I
still,
mean?
He has to be able to throw the ball, and he can't do it. You
And
can say it's the offensive line and blame everybody else, but everything, you got to get that ball out of your hands. You can't just rely on your running. It's not going to work out for you.
Right.
But I've
just want to give him the benefit of the doubt. All right.
But I have seen, coaching getting some part of the blame of not helping his development. Like Luke Getsy has not done it. And my buddy Gooley, who's been a longtime Bears fan, he's been very heavy critical of the coaching staff of not helping Justin Fields develop as a quarterback. Like, especially with Luke Getsy, like Matt Eberflus has not really done much to help to chagrin. And same with Luke Getsy as the offensive coordinator.
Question for you. Is it the coaches or is it the player that don't want to learn? Just like the Arizona quarterback, he'd rather play fucking Halo or
Call of Duty most of the time.
That's what it is. Tyler over here don't want to he don't want to work. He's like, hold on. What do you mean you got to put that in my contract? that I gotta actually.
Yeah, everybody made a big fuss about that. I forgot
I
about
want
that
to play my
clause.
Call of Duty.
I forgot about that clause, and everybody made such a big fuss about it. It's like, first of all, you have a quarterback, and yeah, Kyler Murray for me, when he I've watched bits and pieces of him in college. I didn't really think he's really that special. I really didn't think he was.
I don't think he's that good, and I don't
As
think
people think he
Fields
is.
is that good.
I think he's just full of himself. That's just how he comes off to me as an arrogant prick. That's just how he comes off to me.
Fields does that too. I think Justin
I
Fields thinks he's
don't-
better than he is. He thinks he can beat a team with his legs.
We'll
Listen,
see
you
how that
gotta
goes in
also
the
beat
all
it- you gotta- Listen, Jalen Hurts found out you had to do more than just beat a team with your legs. You had to beat a team with your arm.
And Hurts said himself. Actually, and people don't tend to realize too. He actually more developed his leadership skills from his dad. During his time in school.
Well, he also had Tom Brady, and he went.
He has some of these guys are Hall of Fame guys are working with him, and he even said himself, like, yeah, look, last year, yeah, I wasn't really great as a passer. Yes, I mean he had over 3,000 yards, but I said, I'm going to try, and we saw this story of his development. Like, he took we talk about this.
He took a big leap.
Not just a big leap, and knows how to when to be held accountable. Like, say, look, if I fuck up, and you've seen his press conferences as well. I mean,
Nobody's going to hold the kid to,
a very high standard.
You're not going to jail if you mess up. If you hold yourself accountable, you're not going to jail. Just say, yeah, I messed up. I'll try better next time.
I mean, not just Jalen Hurts. I mean, even Howie admitted, like, yeah, he made mistakes. And oh boy, did I think, that just that made me facepalm. It's like, now you want to say you regret not picking Justin. Then again, though, if we did listen, I talked about with Tyler's, I think one time on a show. It's just like, if we did get Justin Jefferson, I think history could have a lot different if we didn't. So that we had an opportunity to miss out on Devontae Smith and stuff like that, and AJ Brown.
No, if you would have got Justin Jefferson and you would have still got Devontae Smith, you just wouldn't have AJ Brown. But you don't. Nobody can predict the future. Nobody can predict. Hey, would Justin Jefferson do actually what he did?
That is true.
In Minnesota.
Exactly, and that's a very good point. Like, yeah, even in college, I mean, look what happened in college. Like, he got bent for Tua Tagovailoa. Like, yeah, and that's a good point. He never complained about it, and he said, and I think Hurts said himself, yeah, he learned a hard life lesson, like, to be better. Yeah, and look what happens. Actually, had a really good.
Jalen Hurts did kind of complain. He took himself out of that school and went somewhere else. It ain't like they traded him to a different college. He left that college for another one, so he could be the starter.
Well, but when you have
I'm taking my ball and going home.
I would have though. I would have
too.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
You would, but I'm just saying. Everybody's saying he didn't complain.
Yeah, if you want to get drafted in the NFL, you got to.
But if you're going to sit here and say the man did not complain, he did. And you want to,
in a way, yes.
You want to
because if he complained in silence so that he didn't bother the team. Like, he was the first man out on the field to basically shake hands with Tua during any play that was a W with the win in the end zone. He was the first person to shake hands with the running back when he came off the field. He's a team player, but maybe he wasn't so loud like some players are.
I'm not saying he was wrong for doing it. He's going to do it to make the money. He's going for the big bucks, so he has to put himself out there. But
in the end, though, I mean,
like that Jalen Hurts didn't have a tantrum. He did, because he wouldn't have left a college to go to another college.
What player would though at halftime? Everybody would look what's happening. We look at Peyton Manning when he was told to say he probably would have left school. We go back and look at Tom Brady.
You're breaking up. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah,
same thing.
I think.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of been having audio issues. I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi signal.
But I will say, Tua should never have been the starting quarterback over there. They should have kept Jalen Hurts. I don't know why they put Tua in that game.
But I've actually kind of read that. I think it was Brian Dable who kind of pushed for it to bench Jalen Hurts for Tua.
Yeah.
Well, look at Tua now
That's
because he'll probably be out of football this year or next.
Yeah, especially at a very young age, at 24 years old, because of the concussions. But we'll see how everything has turned out. I think this draft is going to be very interesting for a lot of teams. But it's like, but the question is, like, let me ask you this: like, who's going if the Bears do decide to trade the number 1 overall pick? Who do you think they're going to trade it to? Like, who wants that number 1 overall pick?
I said it, Baltimore.
I
think Baltimore and Lamar Jackson are so far apart now, and he had a tangent. He's pissed off because they're trying to act like he's not as worth the money that he wants, and he's like, "Yo, just trade."
I mean, there was another reason I've actually read that the Ravens were being cautious of what if he's going to be a worthy investment long term after suffering that grade 2 PCL sprain, and I've actually talked to doctors who I'm good friends with behind the scenes. Yeah, like peaceful. Yeah, that has really will change the complexion of somebody's career after coming off a PCL sprain.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Well, what was that, Randy?
Talk to the doctor about when I had to go talk to the doctor about my ACL. He said to me, he goes, "You straighten your PCL," and he goes, "If you re-injure yourself at any point in time with that again," he's like, "this will inhibit your way of walking moving forward." He's like, "You're 37 years old. He's like, by the time you're 50, you'll be in a walking chair."
Ooh, that's not
So
good.
just think about that. And I'm not an athlete, so just think about that on the athlete's perspective, right?
And you got Lamar Jackson in the prime of his career.
Yeah, exactly.
And that at times I do understand where the Baltimore Ravens are coming from. I think that I can understand why they're being cautious with that. And at times, and sometimes I feel like players like Lamar Jackson, I think they need to stop being too greedy. If you're not putting up the numbers you deserve, because if you think about it, you're not going to be like a Patrick Mahomes. If you put like 5,000 yards and 40-something touchdowns each and every year. And for me, when Patrick Mahomes did that, I think a couple times in his first 2 years, I think what he got like over 500 mil and a very team friendly 500 million at that.
Yeah.
I think it was very worth every single bit of a penny of that. And we seen it. How long he's been in the league now? About 3-4 years. I could be wrong, but you kind of understand where the point I'm getting with this. Because for me, it's just like if you look outside of Lamar's MVP year in 2019. His numbers isn't the greatest by any stretch of the imagination. And, the fact that, okay, thank you. But, for me, I think Lamar is a tremendous talent, but it's just like I don't know, that entire Baltimore team has just been, what's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of been, not say dysfunctional, but just, I don't know what disappointment, dysfunctional. I mean, no matter how you put it, the fact they didn't want to use their wide receivers, the fact that you traded Marquise Hollywood Brown. I mean, you finally actually did the right thing in firing Greg Roman because, oh, good Lord, I had a lot of Ravens fans DM it being my streams most of the time bitching and complaining because they hate Greg Roman.
And you have to look at, he had an MVP already.
Yeah, and that is true. That was back.
I know everybody wants to try to downplay that he's not that good. With no wide receivers,
and we had to use a tight end.
The line wasn't that good, and the man went and he got an MVP out of it. Because
if I'm not mistaken, too, I think in 2019 he had better numbers than Patrick Mahomes, if I'm not mistaken, too. I think that's the only 1 year in Patrick Mahomes' career he didn't really have that really good numbers, which is kind of surprising if you think about it. But
wasn't the cheetah hurt too? I think the cheetah was hurt.
I don't know. Was he hurt in 2019? I don't know. I
can't remember.
I can't remember either. I think he could.
Well, 2019,
I feel like 2019.
Lamar had
I feel like 3,127
pass yards. He had 36 26 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. That same year,
Did that both led the?
he
What
had
did Patrick
4,000
Mahomes have? Like less.
pass yards, but he had 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions only.
Okay.
So
That's not
Lamar
bad.
threw more touchdowns than Mahomes that year.
Because I'm thinking too, like he still had. I think this was Steelers still had what? No, this is before Hollywood Brown got there and were into Baltimore.
But Hollywood Brown ain't that good. I mean, I don't know why everybody
Holy
thinks
shit.
he's that great.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Patrick Mahomes had 24,241 pass yards,
Woo!
192 touchdowns, and only 49 interceptions.
Patrick Mahomes is
Holy
built different. Like, I mean, you know,
He's a human.
Patrick
that's
Mahomes.
superhero type of numbers if you really think about it. I mean, at this point, if
5,000
Patrick Mahomes decides to
plus
retire,
yards.
at this point though, what's the all-time record in touchdowns? Who holds that record? It's got to be Tom Brady that holds that record.
No, I think it's Peyton Manning.
Who's to say? I'm going to put money
What, are you
that
talking about?
Patrick Mahomes is going to break. No, all time in the history of the NFL. Because I don't know. Because I always feel like Tom Brady was almost like number one almost
Passing TDs, right?
passing TDs. Yes.
I guess you were right. I guess it would be.
Tom Brady, 635.
Yeah, because he's been in the league for way too long. He just got lucky.
The number 2
Yeah, it goes
Drew
Tom
Brees.
Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, Dan Marino.
Dude,
Ben
nobody's going to
Roethlisberger.
touch that Tom Brady, dude. That's 635. That's ridiculous.
So let me ask you this right: is 100
649 649 further.
Oh, yes,
Wait.
it's even gone up further since this article.
Randy? So you said was it the 119? Was that passing touch? Is that passing TDs for Patrick Mahomes so far in his career, or is that total TDs?
Sorry?
The 192 for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, what's the total?
That's a
for
total.
Patrick?
That's a total, Patrick. Yeah.
If he stays when he stays healthy, I think I can think he could break that record. I think he's that good.
How many does he have right now? I missed it.
I think he's 192.
92.
192.
So he's not that.
192.
He's already the fact that he's 8 away from 200 is fucking insane.
That's 6 years.
Yeah.
That's 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years.
And Eli
So-
Manning has 366. He's the
That's
top
crazy.
10 on the list. So he'll be Eli Manning or Matt Ryan's, who's number 9. Matt Ryan has 368. So there are those two real quick. So I could see him drop into the 8th and go right there with Ben Roethlisberger at 418.
I mean,
and then you got Dan Marino, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady. So he's got a way to go, but he definitely is going to make the top.
He's
10
got the
list
talent to
for
do it.
Sure.
I mean,
For sure.
if he's got to like for me? That's always, when he stays healthy, that kid's just
lethal.
not human. As Randy puts it. The fact that he's 24,000 yards, over 24,000 in a short time in the NFL, that is fucking nuts.
And, and I think if he stays with Andy Reid,
absolutely.
Because we've seen him in Philadelphia, what he did with McNabb, it's just he's good. He's learned from McNabb. He's only making Mahomes better.
Mahomes a lot better.
A lot better.
Because I mean, the fact that and look,
49 interceptions too.
Wait, what was that, Randy?
49 interceptions. So he's only got 49 interceptions too. So it's like, holy shit.
Like it's really hard to comprehend. Like, you have almost 200 touchdowns to less than 50 interceptions. Like, what?
Right.
That's not fair. That is not
exactly. That is not fair, right?
And the fact he's not doing it with Tyreek Hill, that's the crazy part. I mean, he had most of it with Tyreek Hill, but you got to think it's too. He this last couple of years this is the only 1 year he has not had Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
The year he hasn't had Tyreek Hill.
No, it's only the first year.
Yards
And he's still got a good.
The 1 year he had Tyreek, he had 5,097 yards. This year, 5,250. He had more yards this year without Tyreek.
Yeah, and people say, Patrick Mahomes is going to regress about Tyreek. Bullshit. The number says otherwise.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that because for me, I think Kansas, because that's going to be interesting because I've been hearing rumors and stuff like that, which, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. That if Reed does decide to retire, that's more up to him. But it's going to be very interesting if Andy Reid does decide to retire, which I don't think he will.
No,
Because at this point, let's just say this too. I think we can all agree that if Patrick Mahomes retired right now, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no matter how you look at it, what the number says otherwise. And was he like 25, 26 at this point?
Yeah, you can't put Patrick Mahomes in there yet.
27. So yeah, you still got.
And you got Andy Reid already saying in the beginning of the season he has no immediate plans to retire anytime soon.
He has said that? Okay. There's been rumors that he might.
Yeah, that's always the biggest rumors. Like, is Andy Reid going to retire? Like I said, I don't think he will because the fact you have, let's be probably the best generational quarterback, and because before Alex Smith got there, before Patrick Mahomes got there, the Kansas City Chiefs were absolute bottom feeder. No, the bottom feeders of the AFC West before. And you got to give Alex Smith and Andy Reid a lot of credit for grooming Patrick Mahomes into what he is now. I think a lot of people tend to give a lot of credit to Andy Reid, but you have to take into consideration. Look at Alex Smith. Alex Smith, I'm going to give this man credit. He fought for his life after breaking his leg. If everybody tend to forget it. And the fact that could be life threatening, it's just like nah, screw it. 7 surgeries, and he's still. I think he had a really good year. I think bounced back. I think he had like his last 2 years and got comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
But
I remember the RG3 injury, and that made me sick my stomach. You're right. That Alex Smith injury, that was disgusting.
And pretty much it was. And I told people this, so it's not say ironic, but it's coincidental that he had the exact same injury on the exact same day as Joe Theismann back in the day.
It's kind of weird how Andy Reid is still coaching, dealing all the stuff that he had to deal with his sons and all.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, his son had to go to rehab. His one son hit somebody with a car?
Yeah, his son is his one son is in jail for I think for a DOI. I think it was.
Yeah, but didn't he his son killed somebody or something? Hit him with a car?
I don't think so. But whatever the case,
did the little girl pass away, or was she in critical condition?
I just know she was in critical condition. I don't know if she passed away. I don't know that.
No, okay. I think the last update. I think like there was a lot of good updates. So, but yeah, since after that, but yeah, that's right. That the toddler was in a coma. They put her in a coma. So. But outside of that, and you got to think too. You have a good offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. The defense. It's like I said, it's not the greatest.
Yeah, it says here, Britt Reed, son of Kansas City Chief head coach Andy Reid, was sentenced to prison for severely injuring a 5-year-old girl in a crash that he was drunk driving in.
But yeah,
outside and the other one was. Had to go to drug rehab because he had drug problems when he was in.
I forgot. Yeah, I think people tend to forget about that one. But I will say too, I think it's crazy too. I think, and I've admitted this a couple of times. I feel like a complete idiot overhyping the AFC West. 'Cause I thought how the Chargers made moves. We know that I thought with the Kansas City, the Chiefs took a step back. The Raiders. If I had Jeff on, we could all be looking like idiots after that. I'm one of them. We overhyped the Raiders, and they shit the bed hard.
I sat there and like, oh my god, they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be
like, look at all this talent you have, and you still somehow fuck it up. And not win double-digit games.
Even the Rams, I thought the Rams might have been not a Super Bowl re-attender, but like in the playoffs, and they were just trashed this year.
Yeah, but they threw for 5,000 yards and all, and they didn't have a wide receiver. And then you're like, oh my god, they went and got a wide receiver. They're going to throw for freaking like 600.
I think that was what Allen Robinson. I think, Allen Robinson was nowhere to be found. Good lord. Yet Aaron Donald pretty much threatened to retire if you don't give him. Pretty much pay him. There was just a lot of stuff going on with the Rams, and it's just was kind of ugly.
I think he's going to retire
Cam Akers, what was he turned into a
Like,
third string running back?
yeah, turned like to a second or third stringer behind Darrell Henderson, and they
He was the
traded.
biggest upset in fantasy football. I should
I
have
was
never
pissed.
drafted him. I dropped his ass after
I
week
so did
3.
After like,
I was like, I'm
after
not doing with this.
I dropped his ass, and then when he started playing and balling, I was like, "You motherfucker! Like, why?
Yeah.
God damn it, McVay! I'm really kind of pissed."
And then
Destroyed
give it
mine.
Darrell Henderson.
What really got to be said is our division is the best, and AFC went downhill.
You know, I mean, we have a good division, but the NFC just has not been. We got some decent talent in the NFC. It's just both conferences kind of took a bit of a step back. Oh yeah, the Broncos. Well, the Broncos, we know where they stand because we know. Well, we did. I never overhyped the Broncos. I knew where they were going to go with the fact that they gave up a shit ton for Russell Wilson, who's not the same quarterback he used to be. And now the fact that you have the Seahawks are sitting pretty with that top 5 pick for this upcoming draft, so they can do anything with that at that point. Now,
I'll be real. I'm wrong on that one. I thought the Broncos were going to be great. I was like KJ Hamler, Cameron.
You got Jerry Jeudy, but the fact that they had
Nathaniel, that running back injury is what really hurt them though. When Williams went down and they had to rely on Melvin Gordon, that was it.
Yeah. And not to mention, too, I still couldn't trust a guy like Nathaniel Hackett, who was okay in Green Bay. Just like that was the biggest red flag for him was Nathaniel Hackett. Like, how can he how can he deal with a team like the Broncos, who, I think everybody wanted. I think that's the biggest thing.
Before they traded Bradley Chubb, they had guys on that team too, man. Like,
and
it was still a good team.
Yeah, it was just ugly for just the Broncos. And it's fun, and I think most fans wanted Russ for the Eagles, and thank God we did not pull the trigger for that. Holy crap!
I didn't know. I didn't want him. No.
Especially it was like almost like close to 34, 35, and still not the same what he once was. I mean, at some point it's just like, but it is what it is. But thank God Howie did not pull the trigger for that. And this is the thing is too, looking back at it, it's like, if Calvin really didn't get suspended, it's surprised we had a package ready to go for Atlanta to trade for Calvin Ridley. But hey, when he got suspended, I mean, look, best case scenario, we got AJ Brown instead. So I mean, a win's a win. That's a win-win for us.
That's so funny how all that worked out and fell out and came as to our eyes. I was like, oh, we're not getting Ridley, and then we got fucking AJ Brown.
Yeah, it's like, and this is why I think too with Calvin Ridley, from what I've seen so far in his tape, I think he's a really good wide receiver. I think Jacksonville's going to really do wonders with him, and especially have a guy like Trevor Lawrence, so you don't have to really, because you're going to give an extra weapon as well. I don't think because for me, and actually, I didn't really I want to ask you this question. To all you guys, did you think the NFL really overlooked the Jacksonville Jaguars before their game against the Chiefs? When it's like, for the Bills and Chiefs game, that neutral site. For me, I think they did. I think they really overlooked the Jacksonville Jaguars before the Jackson Chiefs divisional game.
I do too. I agree with you.
I agree. Yeah, they really. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's just like, how do you overlook a team? And, the fact that, the Bills got their ass whooped, and and the fact you sold out, over 50,000 tickets, and they're all going to be useless at the end of the goddamn day.
Right.
Man, that's going to be embarrassing. But then again, that is the NFL in a nutshell. They are just greedy. I will say that.
They are just greedy. Now, there's supposed to be 4 new teams coming. And you know how we had... Well, what I heard, and they're supposed to be. They're trying to make us. You know how we have like 4. They're trying to make it at 6, so they're making bigger division.
I've heard rumors about that for expansion. I mean, Las Vegas. There was a couple places where they haven't talked about having expansion. I know one of the places was Las Vegas. I know they had talked about having a team in Vegas,
and it's going to be South Jersey.
Interesting. That's going to be interesting, especially for.
I hear that they want 4 teams in Europe.
Yeah,
and they want to have I think it was their international
Dude,
division.
I don't like that, dude. So you're telling me my team has to fly all the way to the UK to play for 1 week?
I don't think we even play.
That's just
no.
a waste of money, dude. And flying around and what is
And first of
that
all, you got
about?
jet lag at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
outside of that, man, it's 23. We got to see what the 2023 season holds.
I mean, it's not going to happen right away, but they're just, I mean,
Right.
they just got the okay from Jersey, South Jersey.
Right.
I forget where they said it was supposed to be going.
But Canada, put one up here in Canada.
Yeah. They're looking at Toronto.
That'd be sick.
I mean, shit, you're going to have 2 football teams in Toronto. You already got the Toronto Argonauts with the CFL. I mean, the question is, what are you going to call that Toronto team, though, if you have going to have an NFL team in Toronto?
The Buffalo Bills used to come up here, up north, and play preseason games back in the day up in Toronto, and Buffalo Bills players hated it. They hated it. They're like, we don't like going up there. That's not a real football field. Like playing on concrete, which basically is. And they're like, and it's so fucking cold. They're like, they thought they're like, oh, Buffalo, but Canada, that's a different cold.
But
like,
yeah, I
there.
mean,
I think they stopped in the late 2000s, early.
I think so, yeah. And plus, with the coaching hires too, it's going to be very interesting too for some of these teams that are looking for new head coaches. It's going to be very interesting for 2023 because I mean, we've seen
apparently Gannon's get a lot of heat there in Houston. Apparently, they like that second interview he did.
I mean, you also had who else got it? The fact that Bieniemy doesn't even that's like it's just like I want to see Bieniemy be
it's history. Look at his history.
It was just yeah, I've read about it.
I think that scares people.
Like just
I think that's scary.
I mean, I would take a chance on it. I mean, if he's going to. I still think he's still good. I think he's still good enough to be a head coach. Look what he's done for that Kansas City organization. He's been there.
Yeah,
that is true. That's true.
I can't argue with it.
Imagine from flying to LA from Foxborough, and you got to fly to the UK. Could you imagine how tired your players gotta have to be fucking be? Holy crap! Like I can't. I never said I flew, but holy crap, that sounds like a tremendous amount of jet lag.
But I think
they would almost have to get. They would almost have to schedule it in a sense like a team that has a bye, they fly out on their bye to the United Kingdom. They spend their bye there, and then they practice, and then their first game after the bye would be against that team in the UK. Because it just, like you guys say, it just makes no sense. Like the flying alone would waste a couple days of practice potentially.
Yeah.
What I heard was that they were going to, you would fly over there and you'd play a couple of teams, and then you get to fly back, and then vice versa, they're going to fly over here and play a couple of teams over here in America. But I don't
have a lot of tired.
I just don't see it.
The UK
I agree.
I just don't see it. They would have to make their own league first, like Canada, because I just don't see it. I mean, one thing for sure is that it's dominant soccer over there. They don't care about. I mean, some things
American football.
Okay, but if you talk to my Scottish friends, they'll tell you right off the bat, we don't. I mean, so what? Okay,
I know Germany.
Let's watch the Celtics and the Rangers.
Further, they say they go, no, our football is the real football. That's what.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. They really.
First of all, soccer's like a religion over in the UK. If you think about it,
and it's older.
First of all, because for me, like I never watched the Premier League. I'll do when I get a chance to, even though soccer's like my huge thing. The only team I ever watch for the Premier League is for me is Manchester United. Even though, for the love of God, I know I've talked to some people who are diehards that they hate the Glazer family with a passion. Because now they are returning the contract to Cristiano Ronaldo. He's going to be playing the Saudi league. It's like from what I've heard, it's like a mess over in. And I thought Chelsea fans had a hard time. And I think the one team that's been coming up on the upcome is Newcastle. Newcastle's kind of they're making their and same with Arsenal. So pretty much, like I said, even though I don't really.
And it's not just the UK, though. It's also France. It's Germany, these minor firms like in Italy and Spain. It's not like, like Barcelona and Frankfurt, and even Israel's got a team. And Tel Aviv. Yeah.
Doesn't the buddy from what the hell is that show called? It's a Philadelphia show, but Ryan Reynolds and a guy
It's Always Sunny in
from there own
Philadelphia.
a soccer team.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
they do. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't remember what it's
Yeah.
called. Yes, and they have a show now about they bought
Yes.
a team.
Yeah. Well,
Wales.
Ryan Reynolds is now
Wales.
yes, that's it. Yeah. And Reynolds now apparently in talks with apparently some other famous people to buy the Ottawa Senators hockey team.
But yeah, it's
He's
going to be
just
interesting. You know,
in everyone.
Yeah.
it's just going to be interesting just for the NFL in general. I mean, look, the fact that they want to try to expand in Europe, even though I know there's going to, if it's not going to be in the UK, I think I'll be okay with it because I mean, I had some German fans tell me like they love having NFL in Germany. I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, you know, they actually did love having when they've had, what's it, Tampa? Who played in Germany? Tampa Bay and
Oh yeah, that's right. They did. I forgot about that.
And Germany. I mean, if you look at the crowd response, boy, did the Germans love having American football over there.
What about Mexico City? Aren't they an option too?
I would be when I might at Mexico City, even though the elevation at times has kind of caused a little bit of issues.
Yep, there is
So
talk
the
about
whole
Mexico City. There is even talk about Sydney, Australia.
Whoa!
Yeah, talk about that.
For a country that's going to kill you, with animals that can kill you. It's big. But I'm all for it. But then again, though, like how does the Australians will feel about that?
That's
an
18-hour flight just for.
Woo! Hell no!
I think it's
Like,
like
first of all,
no, actually, I think it might be 24. I take that back.
First of all,
you're on
number
a
two
for 24 hours.
Think about that. Like, if you played in Australia, like you're already a day ahead than most everybody because you're in a different part of the planet. It's just like I know a couple guys that live in Australia. Like they are because like I had a guy on our wrestling podcast for Thursday. It was like 6 a.m. on a Friday over in Australia. It's like they're like a day ahead of us. It's like damn.
Right. Oh yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. Literally, like
I think 18 hours. I think it is. They're 18 ahead of us in 18 hours.
Wow.
They're ahead of us. Yeah, we're catching up to them.
But yeah, it's going to be, like I said, the international expansion is going to be interesting to say the least. But like I said, we'll see how that goes. And the last question I want to ask before we get up out of here: did Jacksonville finally got themselves a head coach after when they brought in Doug Peterson? For me, I think it really did show off, to really paid off for them. Because I mean, good Lord, I mean, if you look at since they've been in the league since 1995, they had not really the best head coaches outside of well, I can't think of a notable name out of that list.
Doug Marrone went up to
I think the AFC title game was at 2017, but he gets canned after that.
Right after, yeah.
I mean, and then you had Blake Bortles as your quarterback. I mean.
Just keep building around Trevor Lawrence. And,
I mean, you really don't need that much to do. I mean, you got the talent there, and not to mention too, you have Calvin Ridley come back from suspension. Mm-hmm. You got a potential disgusting defense. Just got to revamp in some areas. Get some interior O-line help because some of that Brandon Scherf. Find a way to replace Brandon Scherf because that dude's injury prone as hell. I think we can all agree across the board that Scherf has been very injury prone. I thought Christian Kirk had a really good year.
Yep.
Yeah, and I get it. The Jags are a small market, but I think they're going to be one team. I think they're going to be sneaking and very dangerous for years to come. Because I mean, look at the talent that they're going to have, and the fact that they're trending in the right direction. Obviously, just try to get some pieces if you can, but we'll see. But we'll see.
I won't forget that Eagles game in the rain in Philadelphia against the Jags. It got me worried, man. They were
worried.
I had the Jags beating the Eagles that game. And I mean, I picked it. I was like, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I said, listen, Jacksonville, Doug Peterson was going to get this team ready. And I'll tell you what, man. It took him a little bit longer than I thought, but he got those guys working together as a team. And that's all Doug Peterson does. He gets you as one.
Absolutely.
You are gonna die for that man on the right. You're gonna die for the man on the left. You know what I mean? and that's what Doug Peterson gets you.
Yep,
That's
yep.
why I like Doug Peterson. I think he's gonna with that
And
team.
I-
I think he's
and
gonna
thank
split it
God-
up.
And
Yeah, it's
obviously
not
we
a
had this
brotherhood with him; it's family.
And what was
Yeah.
that quote in 2017 when he was in the locker room and he was like, "I hope you're believing just a little bit. I hope you're believing
I
just
th-
a little bit."
I
Get
think
to
it
the
will- I
simple.
think it
That's
might
the
have
type
been-
of guy he is.
Yep.
And his ice
I mean, he's the
cream.
kind
I love his ice cream.
Oh, I forgot about that. I completely
So
forgot
at the end of everything, he's like, "And I got you guys some ice cream."
You guys.
Yeah, I think his ice cream or smoothie breaks. I think him
It was
too.
it was both.
Yeah.
I have a
But I will say this too, though. I mean, the fact they went 9-8. Look, that's a huge improvement. If you look at the last 2 years of their record, like they're like 2-15 in 2020. They were 3-14 the following year. But the fact that they won more games than they lost, and I think another team you can make the argument that has turned around. That's the Detroit Lions. It's going to the upcoming could pose a bit of. I don't say be a threat, but could make some noise in the NFC North, knowing that.
they're going to be a threat soon. They're going to be a threat.
I think there's. I say give them about a year.
I think next year the Lions are going to be a threat.
I agree.
I think Jacksonville is going to be a threat
because I think, as much as I hate to say, I think Goff really played his best football since being traded to Detroit. Because I feel like there's certain quarterbacks they do not do well in bigger markets. I think train him to a smaller market has done him wonders. And then you have,
Carson Wentz.
I mean, well, that's it's another story for another day. But think about it. You got a good running game with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. And now that you got a
that's the key right there. That's the key. A solid number 2 for them. With Jamal Williams, huge.
And not so much you're going to have when they traded T.J. Hawkinson, that really caught me off goddamn guard. So they're going to look at.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird. I was like, what are they doing? Like, he's a huge threat for them. And then all of a sudden they got better. And I was like, wait, what? Like,
it really didn't make any sense. And look at the wide receivers too. You got, you're going to have a healthy Monte Brown. You have a healthy Jameson Williams. Who's another guy I'm thinking of? I'm really drawing a blank off. That defense, when you get a right defensive coordinator, that's going to be that's going to
bother me. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think he's their third receiver. I can't think of his name. Oh God, his name's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't think of it. But they got pieces to really could be that team that could take the NFC North away from the Minnesota Vikings, because I think the Packers are going to take a bit of a step. If you're going to look ahead of time in 2023, I think they're going to be still the bottom feeder of that division.
DJ
Chark, that's who it is. But I think Detroit's going to find a way to keep him. I think he had a really solid year with them. I mean, you got 3 good receivers and probably some tight ends that we never really think about. But look at that defense then. After they fired their defensive back coach, their secondary had played better football. They pretty much played better football since firing their cornerbacks coach, which is kind of crazy if you think at it.
You got Deuce Daly as the running back.
And you got Deuce.
That running game now. Look at that running game now for the Lions.
Absolutely.
Deuce Daly, dude. And they got they like you said with wide receivers, that dude what's his name? St. Brown?
Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah.
Dude, he is phenomenal.
He's an underrated receiver. People
he's way underrated. He's a number 1. He's definitely number 1. Yes, he gets hurt a lot. But I guess because
he had a full season this year. He played 16 games this year.
He played 6 yards.
No, he got hurt.
No, I'm looking at that right now. 16 games played.
Because that's what everybody's saying is everybody's like, yo, man, St. Brown, dude. But like the only thing that nobody likes about him is he gets hurt.
Actually, he had a full healthy year this year, if I'm not mistaken. He played all 17 games, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he played all 17 games. And but I will say try to find a good tight. I don't know. I don't know who their tight end is now, but I think try to upgrade at the tight end position, since you did get rid of trade T.J. Hawkinson to a division rival, which
Brock Wright is their tight end right now.
Brock.
So
I thought he. Like it's. I'm going to have to put my prediction on this. I think they could win double-digit games in 2023 if everything goes right and all the moves. Because think about it. I mean, Goff, and the fact they say they're going to stick with Goff for the long term, I'm okay with that. I think he's got some good years left in him. And looking at look at Detroit as a whole, I mean, could they do better with? I mean, Dan Cable, I think he was an underrated player during his time, and I think just retool in some areas. I think that team could be a 10, 11 game winner, hands down, right there in that NFC North. Because I know we can all agree that the Bears are going to be a last place team in the next couple of years.
Is Kirk Cousins a free agent this year?
This was his 1 year deals. Yeah, so he is a free agent, and I've always posed the question, like, should Minnesota go after a quarterback? Because I mean, if Kirk Cousins can give
you guys should the Lions, even though Kirk Cousins likes to pad his stats, go for him.
I don't know.
Just think about it.
Why wouldn't the Jets? Why would the Jets?
And the Jets they're trying to, even though there's been reports saying they might move on from Zach Wilson, and there's been some contraries who say they're not. And it's like it's really kind of
not a good quarterback.
I mean, first of all, you had Justin.
Hold on, we all know Kirk Cousins.
He's a MILF hunter. That's all he is.
He's on the prowl for Cougars.
Yeah,
damn it! I'm sorry. That was that.
Yeah.
Well, there was another word I want to say, but I don't want to say it because PG reasons. Well, actually, you'll screw it. I think he's a motherfucker, basically.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a mother. Yep.
Yeah. He's a mother.
But it's just like it's going to be very interesting for the Lions in 2023. The fact that they were like not that far off from making a playoff spot. It's like, but Seattle had to find a way to fuck it all up for the Lions. You bet. And then again, though, at least it saved Detroit the trouble getting their ass whooped. So that's the positive I could take out of that. So the Seahawks took the ass whooping for them.
Yeah,
but
what about that? That was a surprise with Seattle this year.
Seattle was a very surprise. I thought that Seattle team would took a step back after trading Russell Wilson. But they said nope. I mean, Seattle. I mean, look, he had the best stats that he's ever had in his 10-year career, which is over 4,000 passing yards, if I'm not mistaken, and over 30 touchdowns.
His quarterback ranking was third or fourth.
I think third or fourth highest in the league. It's like what?
You got to think.
Everybody knew he was garbage.
Pete Carroll's the man, dude. He's a great head coach, and he's a player's coach, a true player's coach. And he knows how to talk to his quarterback. He did it with Russell Wilson. He's going to do it with Geno Smith, and he'll do it in the future. Don't ever underestimate Pete Carroll. He's a great.
But let me ask you guys this: would you take the risk of having Geno long term, or do you go after a quarterback? Since you do own a top 5 pick and you have probably the best quarterback prospects out there,
I think you should go for a quarterback.
I agree.
I still don't think Geno Smith is that good of a quarterback.
But I think he's a good mentor for whoever is going to come in. Because first of all, Drew Lock ain't it for them. We could be all agree across the board. Drew Lock ain't shit. Because, I mean, look about it. You got C.J. Stroud. You can have Bryce Young, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. I don't really understand the hype around Richardson. There's always been like this kind of weird hype around him, which I'm kind of not like. I haven't really watched his tape a little bit, but I've seen a bit of Bryce Young. Hell, if Stetson Bennett's lucky, give him a sheet.
Right. Right.
But I mean, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I was going to go after a quarterback because look, you're sitting pretty with the top 5 pick. You already got the Texans, the Colts, the Cardinals. I don't know where the Cardinals are going to go with that number 4th overall pick, because that's going to be very interesting. Because I don't know what you guys think about where the Cardinals would go with that 4th overall pick.
The Cardinals,
they paid Carter, so
yeah,
they're stuck with him.
Yeah, I mean they're stuck with him for what, the next 6 years.
They're going to need a wide receiver, ain't they?
They're already looking to trade D Hop out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the question is, though, where does D Hop want to go?
And then again, I think they need help on offensive line too.
Not especially they need to find a replacement for J.J. Watt at the same time.
But you
Because remember,
really,
they lost J.J. Watt, and when they lost Chandler Jones to free agency, that defense took a hit a little bit.
but your
True.
your top pick like that should be like a left tackle or a right tackle.
At least something like that, because that O line is just
Because
absolute.
that's where your money is. I mean, your money's in them guys.
Yes.
I agree. But then again, we don't know exactly know what the new GM is where his direction wants to go. Since the area, whoever the next head coach can be for them, they already know. They don't know exactly where the new GM is going to go after they fire Steve. Well, technically, Steve Kahn stepped down because of quote unquote health reasons, knowing that he was always going to get fired, which was the health reason.
Eagles got a fucking gem and a half for our left tackle, man.
Yeah.
How do you pick him in the 7th round?
Why is no one learning from us that, dude, these Islanders, these Pacific Islanders, Samoans specifically, I'm talking about, or
who play
rugby players, are dominant in the. I mean, you got remember Polamalu on the Steelers? How much of a savage he was.
Oh, absolutely.
I miss him, dude. Why are there not more? They should be like having scouts over there. That one.
And think about it. You have some punters. You get Jimmy Gillian from the Giants. He also played rugby at the same time. He's the Scottish Hammer.
And that's why I think if we had maybe not a team in Sydney, but if we had an expansion team where they just played maybe 1 or 2 games in Sydney, it would really start bringing some of that type of Pacific Islander talent to the NFL.
Yeah. And
some real footballer. You're not going to get players from the UK. I don't know why we're over there. Okay, they're not going to be a European dude over there. It's going to, I mean, I know they got rugby players,
but soccer's their main sport over there.
It's completely different. Yeah. Okay, we're not going to get future talent in Europe. Okay, but if you want future talent, then put a team over in Sydney. You can start getting maybe Pacific Islanders.
Because I mean, not just Sydney. You also could put in New Zealand, because that's where pretty much where. That's where Jordan Montola came from. He came from New Zealand and played a lot.
I thought he came from Australia.
No, he's from New Zealand.
That's right. They sure do play in Argentina.
Argentina
is very European. If you look down there, it's not like Brazil.
Most of
it's not like Colombia and Venezuela and Mexico. It's like very much like a European style French looking town in Buenos Aires.
Well, you been there?
No. I just like geography and looking. Like if I wanted to go to a Latin country,
I'm thinking myself, how would you know that?
I studied in college.
But I will say this too: if they even go to Argentina, think about that. Most of South America is pretty much soccer heavy most of the time.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Argentina. I mean, Brazil in particular. If you put an NFL team in Brazil, will not like that. I know that.
Pele. Ooh.
The late Pele. I mean, you also got the best soccer icons, Lionel Messi. And, this is kind of irrelevant, from a different type of football. But I know people have said that, that Messi, there's been reports that Messi might retire. But Messi said, I'm not done. I still got more World Cups in me. It's like, okay.
Who was the other guy on Argentina that was just as good as Messi? Great on assist.
Oh, God, what the fuck's his name?
Oh, I said his name all the time. What is the Argentina roster?
I don't know. I think Suarez was there, Mr. Vampiro or Mr. Biter. I don't know exactly what his nickname was.
Biter.
Oh, Di Maria. Di Maria is a savage. I think I like him more than Messi. I like Di Maria.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know.
The guy that just controlled the ball the whole time and would kick it to Messi, and Messi would he scored in the World Cup. Di Maria, that unbelievable shot.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, but I will say this too. I'll say this too. England, what the fuck? I put money on y'all to kick the crap out of France, but no, you had to shit the bed against France, you bastards. God damn it. Because first of all, like, outside of Mbappe, like, who do you have that's even good on France? Let's be real here. Outside of Mbappe, like, who do you have? And how the fuck do you still lose? Like, that. But then again, this is why a lot of times I have a hard time not liking English teams, because they always never. Now, I mean, look, there are times I remember seeing Wayne Rooney used to play, but outside of that, like, England has not done much to really to their chagrin.
And it was Di Maria, Stardust, and you're right. He's nowhere. Even Di Maria is not as good as Messi, but you have to give credit where credit's due.
It is due. Yeah, absolutely.
Di Maria was I was like, who is this guy? This guy's great.
I mean, Argentina. People, you'd be surprised that somehow Argentina, no matter how many teams that Argentina could put together, they always somehow find the best players. But
we got a Niners fan. Okay.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see. Come Sunday.
They're coming to Philly. They're not afraid to come to Philly, dude. That's one thing.
Oh, actually, that's a very good point, Niners all day. For those who don't know, Hurts did beat Purdy in college football.
Listen, 49ers, you guys.
We're bringing up previous history, huh?
Think about it, because Purdy's from. Yeah, because
we're going to beat you.
It's going to be close.
In the wrong neighborhood. Just sit there and act like you're going to come in here and not get your butt kicked.
Because it's funny. Go back to what I said about the.
Don't take us for granted. We won't take you for granted.
Like I said, we do but I did had expectations to be that I thought the 49ers and Cowboys was going to be like a shootout and have like the high 30s, low 40s. But the fact you gave us that, like I was just saying to myself, well, there goes my expectations out the window. Like, damn, because it's like But then again, it is Dak Prescott we're talking about. But it's also funny, too, that I don't know if anybody saw the clip of Skip Bayless throwing Dak's jersey in the trash.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's great.
I thought I was watching Deja Vu. I was like, did he just
He does it all the time. He does it. He did it with
and it looks so phony.
It does. It really does.
The way he walks away.
Well, did you see Stephen A. Smith this morning?
Oh, he pulled the pinky gimmick.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm like, come on, dude. You guys are like trying to be like you should be more realistic. You guys are trying to be movie stars now. I'm like,
he's crying. He was like fake crying. He's like, oh, the Cowboys did it again to me. Yeah. Mark Holmes is over there. So
nobody saw what Shannon Sharp. I think he posted on Facebook at one point where like he calls like the stinking Cowboys, and he takes a drink at the end. It's just like it's still going on his bit of a tirade. But yeah, I mean, so far the playoffs have been very interesting for a lot of teams.
Well, you know the 49ers and Eagles were going to have to play against each other. We knew that Kansas City and Cincinnati was going to play against each other. I mean, come on.
And I will say too, I think we all can agree that the Cincinnati Bengals, I think they're definitely going to beat. I could definitely see. And I've just seen a lot of people say it's us and Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. So
they get hot. They get hot at the right moment. The Bengals. I don't know.
Exactly. Like, I mean, Zach Taylor is doing. I mean, the fact that Zach Taylor has done a very good job since coming over there. I mean, look, you got Joe Burrow. I mean, you got some good weapons and a very good.
Bengals beat the KC twice this year, didn't they?
Wait, what was that, Randy?
Didn't the Bengals beat KC twice this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like I'm gonna say Cincinnati is gonna win, just because Patrick Mahomes is hurt.
Look,
how bad is that high ankle sprain? Because Jalen Hurts had the high ankle sprain and he could do nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, he's gonna be on shot.
He couldn't do nothing. He couldn't move.
Yeah, high ankle sprain is no joke.
And it hurts his throwing.
You'd rather be best have a broken bone. Yeah, that's what the doctor will say. Because I remember I had one from skateboarding, and the doctor was just like, "I just wish you had broken your bone because it's just so much scar tissue built up in your ankle. It will take you like 3 to 6 months just to even fully recuperate to get all the scar tissue out. All that popping. The doctor would take this and go this way, and you just hear these huge pops coming out of my ankle, and it would just be the biggest relief ever. I was like, oh my God, I can move my ankle a little bit more.
Yeah, trust me, high ankle sprains in general are just no joke.
It hurts. It is no joke.
Because
you predicate your style on being able to maneuver and throw it off.
Yeah, because
he's not going to be able to now.
I mean, my whole side of my ankle was purple.
That's on his throwing foot too. So when he goes back to set, he
Like
puts all
you
that
that's how
pressure
you
on
can
that.
get more. That's like if try to you can have the push off the ankle. It's and like you said with that high ankle sprain from Patrick Mahomes, even how heavily taped it was, you can see like his throws are not as crisp as we would
Yeah.
expect to see
Have
from
you
Patrick
ever had
Mahomes.
have you ever had shin splints?
No, I
Or
have not shed. I never had
pain
shin.
like that shoots up into your thigh.
Like a cracked
That's what
bone?
it feels. So every time he's gonna step on that ground, I'm assuming he's gonna take a shot before the game. Every time he takes a step, it's gonna be a shooting pain going up towards his knee every single time.
So it's like a cracked bone.
Oh, it's like the doctor will tell you. It's like it would be better. If
I've
you
broken a bone before. Yeah, like I said, I'm with further. So I'd rather have a broken bone than having a high ankle sprain.
Because that
Because remember,
tissue
I broke my
so
hamate
long.
bone one time. It took 68 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they all had to do because it was like this, and they had to readjust it and had to just rewrap it back up tightly.
My
And
ankle's still not the same. My ankle's still fat.
And that's
It's
another,
never
and that's a
gonna be
very
the
good
same.
point too. Like once it comes from that ankle sprain, like it's not your mobility is not as same as it once was. So we don't
Right.
exactly know if he's going to, what Patrick Mahomes is going to be like. With that high ankle sprain, it's going to be something interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that the defense for Kansas City, yeah.
And I was
And
a
also-
long jumper. I used to jump 24 feet in track and field. I was on my way to states, and that crushed me. I couldn't. And afterwards, my senior year, even after recuperating a whole year, I could barely make 20 feet. I lost 4 feet off my jumping foot from that high ankle sprain.
Yeah, that's
I ruined my career. I had to give up long jump, which was my favorite sport. I love long jump. I could jump over a pool, no problem.
But yeah, so like I said, the title games is going to be very interesting to watch. So with that being said, I appreciate Randy, Further AM, and Philly Halftime joining me for I would say probably the finale for this episode of the series. We're going to do more of this for season 2 for the next season because it's going to be a lot of fun for 2023. Check all these guys out as well, and check out the Hardcore Sports Network as well. And that is true. And that is true by Jorge, that Arrowhead at this time of the year is a tough environment.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Don't ever underestimate Arrowhead, but it's crazy because the Bengals did it in the NFC Championship last year. They beat them in their own turf, and they had Mahomes, and he was healthy.
Yeah, but
but
it's the problem is Andy Reid gonna allow you to do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that's
something up his sleeve. You don't know. That man comes up with something. He did it for the Eagles.
We'll see.
And he can just do it again, but only time will tell come Sunday at 6:30 Eastern time. I will be live again for the NFC title game, live at 3:00 Eastern time. It's going to be fun. Check out these guys out. Check out the Hardcore Sports Network.
Hey, real quick, did you know that the 49ers and the Eagles have only faced one time in a playoff game? It was a wild card game in 1996, and the Eagles, I believe, lost 0-14 at San Fran. But this time it will be in Philly, and it'll be an NFC Championship game, so we can't talk about the past. But I thought it was interesting. We only faced one time in the playoffs.
I forgot about that, if I can be quite honest. But with that being said,
that's the one where we took out Joe Montana and Steve Young came in.
And pretty much the rest is history after that.
I think that's the season. If I remember,
96.
I think we broke his arm, and he was in the end zone, if I can remember correctly, and he's holding his arm like, "Yo, I'm done."
I remember that. I remember watching that live, and they didn't show it afterwards.
Yeah, he was done, dude. It was literally broken, broken.
You could see it, dude. It was one of those NFL experiences. If you missed it, then you missed it. They didn't have Twitter back then.
But with that being said, though, like I said, I appreciate everyone that came on. But with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.